Scoop, you know me far too well. Oop. I would hope you know me far too well, given that we're married. But, hello everyone. Welcome. I lost track of time playing Toby Fox's magnum opus Deltarune. And as such, had to get some coffee right before we started, otherwise I was going to fall asleep while we were actively streaming. And that's less than ideal. It was the coffee, yeah. So, that's where we're at. Thank you all for coming. Welcome in. Excuse me, pardon me. Last time, we made a rat profit. We spent a lot of time with rats, and did some rat-based stuff. We're desperately... Oh no, it's an entire French press. If I scale it back a little bit, see it there. So it's technically 2 very large cups of coffee. Rats off to you. My rat hat, my best friend Algernon. Boy, I sure hope nothing happens to Algernon like his namesake. I feel like a rat named Algernon is a little prescient and damning in its own regard. So, that's the hubris of Ferret, however. Oh yeah, the little plunger thing, yeah. French press is the exact middle ground to me of quality of coffee that I want versus work that I'm willing to do. Because pour-over coffees are really good, but too fussy for me. And drip coffee is, while simple, less enjoyable to me than a nice French press. So I have this lovely, reusable stainless steel French press that my lovely wife Scoop got me for either a Christmas or a birthday years ago, and I've been using it every day since. So, yeah, let's take a look at our journal right now. We've got a few things going on. Grizz needs to go to the Ruins of Parliament, but we need money for that. I'm helping Rachel craft a plot to her next story, but she did not like my ending that ended happily with a woman marrying a rubbery man. We are trying to discover Archie's part in the, murder that may or may not have happened. But we are also trying to get him out, and I think we agreed that the rats and ferret would help spring him the day or two before the trial was actually supposed to take place. And we're planning on hiding him in the basement, which contains meat. Conspicuous meat. What else can we do? We can talk to about Archie. We can visit with Ferret. Seems like visiting with Ferret may have... Oh, it's very... a virtual head. Well, thank you all the same. Let's try visiting with Ferret. Yeah, it's a concerningly replenishing amount of basement meat. I'm gonna try visiting with Ferret. It had an exclamation point there in such a way... Listen, it's not that I'm obsessed with the meat. It's that I have a hunger. There is a hunger. That I need to know where the meat comes from. Yes, it was mostly rat-based shenanigans, Pegasus Bat Spider. I know you've been taking care of your COVID-ridden spouse. But I appreciate you coming to join all the same. Hey. Listen. We all want to know where the meat comes from. We're all looking for the guy who ate this. Alright. Hello, friend. I'm really curious if you have any information about the cats. Cats have been accused of passing messages to prisoners, according to the newspaper that we read last. Oh. There's some talk of inducting cats into the diplomatic service, or training them for espionage. I put a somewhat dark and gloomy complexion on the whole thing. Is that the British spelling of complexion? I have to. It was me. I ate it. I will continue to eat. People are losing their heads. Stands to reason if the bats is different, everything else is too. Yeah, you're not wrong. Let's move lightly to Newtown. I laugh, but let the subject drop. The conversation turns to the behavior of the animals, which is even more peculiar and alarming. I explain that I have no special business today, but only wanted to visit. I prepare a little awkwardly to remove myself. Come back soon. Well, that was a disappointing errand that we didn't really do anything with. Interesting. Okay. I guess let's try to show Rachel our latest plot work. Yeah, I'm assuming that must be the British spelling of complexion, or maybe it's an even archaic British spelling of complexion, given that we're in, like, the 1870s or whatever. Okay, do you like my ending of disaster? Wait for Phoebe to go this time. She doesn't seem to add anything. Good to see you. I pause and look in Phoebe's direction. Offer this plot where the heroine fights nightmare. Dreams are a danger to everyone now. The inclusion of a Neathborn character is daring. I'm not sure whether I believe it will be able to do it justice, but I will try. Shake up tradition. Ooh, or you're the ideal person to write it, because you have been spending time with the devils. I think you're exactly the person to write such a thing. There are limits to my powers, and sometimes it's a good thing to be aware of these limits. Nonetheless, it may be interesting to try. From there, I go on to speak about the ending. I didn't have much patience for stories like this on the surface. Reading the old folk tales is one thing, but when it came to characters of our own time, I preferred them to face real difficulties. I suppose our dreams are difficulties now. Rachel does look grateful. Rachel adds a proper payment. Money! We have a source of income! Thank you, Rachel. Oh, thank you. Think nothing of it. There's more if you can take it on from that point. I'll have some work to do putting flesh on all those bones. And there are some points of motivation that I may alter slightly. But it can be used. It certainly can be used. I will offer Rachel my friendship. Money! Money! I've come to see you as one of my closest friends. I put a great value on your judgment, and your company is always a pleasure. Someone I can rely on who isn't a relative. I shouldn't be telling you this, I know, but there are few people I can speak to honestly. Now, that's an unexpected turn of affairs. Milton has been helpful, sometimes, but it would be a mistake to trust him. He all but tells you not to if you try. But yes, I'm glad to call you a friend. I'm glad to be given such a straightforward account of it. I should be elsewhere. My publishers will be sending around a messenger at any moment. Look after yourself, my friend. I'll try to study human nature as Rachel does. She notices people's foibles and the motives they try to keep hidden. There's also some frustration, some impatience. That is what I want to be myself. I want to be able to read people. And write them. Alright, let's continue. Grizz. Hoped for oblivion. The golem. Meeting. Their predicament is that they are haunted. A golem hopelessly in love. Slept deeply at last. Blackened reputation. Is infamous. Is infamous. A tragic ending? A spoiled beauty and the golem encountered one another in the land of nightmare. A spoiled beauty now dwelled in that place more than in waking life. Even when the spoiled beauty seemed awake, her thoughts were often elsewhere. The golem was hopelessly in love with the spoiled beauty, whom he met only in the land of dreams. Spoiled beauty did everything to achieve sleep and often managed to sleep for all but a few hours each day. Even in those hours, she was listless and dozy. The golem spread rumor about her misdeeds. Am I becoming a Chuck Tingle? Well, no, I'm becoming Chuck Tingle's ghostwriter. It's Rachel that's the Chuck Tingle. The golem injured her terribly. Struggled with regret. Deceit. Exemplar. Regrets nothing. Golem is deceased. The golem wrestles with regrets. Ooh, yeah, okay, I like this. Grizz. Or no, hang on. Yeah, loved hopelessly. The golem injured her as she was trying to dream, and then the golem wrestled with regrets, and she has become a pariah for her obsessions. Yes, perfect. But first, supper. If there's any new supper scenes. Ooh, looks like we have a whole crew this time. Archie's trial is scheduled in a few days' time. If there's anything you had to tell me about it, you have 3 full days left to do so. Further evidence against our friend? Or further alibis? You're intruding on our supper. I've found nothing. I haven't been able to discover anything yet. There isn't much time. This would not be necessary if he'd given us warning. Archie could have gone into hiding. There are ways, under the city, within it. Hint to Horatia about... Oh, yeah. There are indeed ways. There are even ways to extract a person from prison now. I know better to ask what you have in mind for some methods. If I ask my lodgers what they're up to, all I get is gray hairs. But if you do free Archie, bring him here. You have my word, it'll be safe. That was my plan, hell yeah! Even if the constables come a-knocking, you're a real one, Horatia. I will absolutely not leave a mess for Horatia. Yeah, I knew Horatia would be willing to shelter Archie. He gets to live in the meat basement. Oh yeah, his trial is on Yule. The headlines today read, New Anglican Synod disbanded under accusations of infiltration by imposters. Is that Theophilus? Is he an imposter? I didn't really, engage with his story in any meaningful way. Still got no new memories right now. Okay. No, we're good. Let's take Rachel my latest plot work. See what we can do with this one. Rachel and I know one another too well now for any minor eccentricities of dress to surprise her. I may still have my own preferences about how I wish to appear, however. I like that I like her but hate her brother. You have a visitor? I'm Phoebe leaving. I'd throw Theophilus out the airlock if I could. I don't trust priests. Unless he is an imposter, though. Maybe there's something interesting there. Talk about the new Anglican Synod. I recount the newspaper story. The new Anglican synod is being disbanded, and there has been another attempt to contact the Archbishop of Canterbury, wherever he might be. Oh? Several of its members were suspected of being secretly devils, or in the employ thereof. I may sound a bit gloomy. They're not all bad, you know. Devils. Besides, some of them aren't interested in anything so vulgar as soul. Some prefer higher pleasures, such as conversation. Oh, it was a Amogus. I saw Theophilus Vent. Ah. I'm too stupid to catch references right now. I'm too focused, too locked in. Talk about the battle of the church against wrong. No, I'm not a churchman. Let's move lightly to new topics. I laugh, but let the subject drop. No one speaks for a moment. Rachel brings up a legend, common among servant classes, that the Neath contains many other fallen cities. They say it's just the way that the floor of the deep ocean is covered with bones. When a leviathan dies, it sinks to the bottom, and there is no one to bury it. I will offer my tragic plot. I explain what I have in mind. How wretched! Approaching the end of the story, something more terrible must happen. Let us say she receives word from the Cumaean Canal. Her former betrothed is alive and well and has married someone much wealthier than she was. Rachel does look grateful. She adds a proper payment. Oh, I was only one this time. Damn! We work well together. Nothing of it. This will be the last chapter, so give it a good ending, eh? And I'll pay a little extra this time. Biden. You have any art in you? You write, or sing, or paint? I will describe aspirations in another field. I tell her about my efforts and my aspirations. Even when I stray far from her own expertise, she listens intently. I am most interested in what you mean to do with it. Before the fall, we knew what art was for. A sale, a wealthy patron, the infiltration of one's preferred salon. Fascinating. I'm glad you've told me this. There's a chapter waiting for me to finish it. Look after yourself, my friend. That leaves time for another errand today. Can I build a story and then immediately go back and hopefully get paid for it? Oh my god, she made her... Right, I remember that Grizz was her heroine. I'm getting some Nozaki vibes from Rachel. Just putting the people you know in your books with bad cover jobs. Spoiled, regretted relationship. Fled to London. Died. Is dead. Oh no. A posthumous reputation as a virtuous spouse. A happy ending? A tragic end. Okay, let's see this. A spoiled beauty struggled with the knowledge that her long-lost betrothed had married someone else. The man of business encountered her in the midst of this gloom. The man of business regretted the relationship. A spoiled beauty immediately fled London. The man of business died alone shortly afterwards. Oh, he regretted... Oh, yeah. A spoiled beauty immediately fled London. The man of business died alone, broken-hearted. The man of business enjoyed a posthumous reputation as a virtuous spouse. A spoiled beauty delights in the last laugh. The man of business's tombstone was pointedly disregarded by his spouse. A spoiled beauty delights in the last laugh. The protagonist of this story is an absolute wreck of a woman. Oh, I can't go back there today. I can only do that once, I guess, a day. Damn. Oh god, what can we do then? Because I want to get Archie his manifesto, so I'm hoping I can get $2 from that. Why can't I hang out with Batachi-Khan? Where's my boy? hang out with Virginia. We haven't seen her in a while. I'm gonna bring Algernon. I don't think I've taken a rat to meet the devil. No appointment was on the schedule. I ignore the rebuke, as always. We both know I'm not here to conduct any important business. Where, I ask myself, do you hope to gain from such advance? I would be prickly and hide my attraction. Fate brings us together again. Interfering crone. I'd wish she'd stop. How does anyone, even a human, contrive to be so dull-witted? I prepare a little awkwardly to remove myself. I trust you remember how to find the exit. At least you don't say whatever you are thinking like most of London, but dishonesty is not alluring in and of itself, so pray I don't feel I will pine for you in your absence. At this point, I think I've grown weary of Virginia. I can feel the frown forming on my face. Horatio will be setting out the food now. Our relationship simmers pleasantly. Perhaps it'd be good at something more. Please. Maybe after Archie's trial, I'll be able to further continue that one. Always help Horatio clean. Never don't. Go straight to sleep. She is a devil from hell, but she does not like me. Pigeons reintroduced in yard of Saint Fiacres. Viacres. I don't know how to say that. Fiacres. Still pretty sure that there is nothing for me to recall. Yep. Okay, first, take Rachel the final chapter outline. We gotta get that money. Rachel is familiar with me by now. St. Fakers. Wait for Phoebe to go. Yeah, 4 other cities fell before London. I've heard 4 other cities also fell into the Neath. Rachel plainly thinks I find that idea alarming. I have guided David through enough night terrors to know that these things will pass. London is the 5th. I wonder which the others were. You would think we would have heard of their demise. Unless they fell very discreetly, or were immediately forgotten afterwards. Silence falls. They say if you travel far enough through the city, you'll find the ruins of Kitza. Kitez. Offer my happy ending for the jilted heroine. I present my tale with an air of triumph. A triumph! All ends well and the readers may sleep snug in their beds. Rachel does look grateful. Rachel has a proper payment. Ooh, damn! We work well together. Oh, very good of you. We work well together, don't you think? Think nothing of it. That is all I need, I think. Thank you for your help with this project. More than once you've brought me an incident which I never would have thought of myself. I certainly would not have come out. It certainly would not... Oh my gosh, excuse me. It would certainly not have come out as it has without your influence. Alright, time to fund Archie's Revolutionary. But first, let's discuss my worst secrets with Rachel. I worry over you. Sometimes a thought crosses your face that I can't read. What troubles you? I'm not actually worried about Horatio trapped in the house. But I'm gonna keep up the illusion that I'm very troubled about Archie's arrest and not planning on springing him from prison. Did you forget that my friend is in prison? No. And did you forget that he may be hanged? I've come to know you quite separate from him, and so I... Never mind. It was clumsy of me. I'm sorry. I should be elsewhere. My publisher will be sending around a messenger at any moment. Look after yourself, my friend. I just have time for another errand today. Ooh, I wonder if I can still afford the wig after I buy the things I need from Ferret. Hello, my friend. Mention the reintroduction of pigeons. Let's make small talk. Yeah, the money is going towards a revolution against the masters, I believe, that Archie wants to try and fund. I recount the newspaper story. A special shipment of pigeons from the surface has been released at St. Fiego's. I may sound a trifle pessimistic. People are having a hard time adjusting to the new order of things. Not me, though. Easy to see in the dark. Yeah. Consider a more positive view. Change. I say nothing, but I'm affected by his view on things. The conversation turns to the behavior of animals, which is even more peculiar and alarming. But now, drugs. I was looking for these. I hand over the list of ingredients that Archie wanted. These all for you, then? You've taken up a new medical hobby. Rely on the honor of the criminal fraternity. It's for a friend of mine. You might be acquainted. I'm acquainted with his shopping list at any rate. Wouldn't have thought he was in a position to put himself in the market much these days, so to speak. They have another look at the list, then a look under their shop counter. Some of these articles are challenging to come by. Gotta be compensated for the time and trouble, don't I? And the work of me rat companions. That'll be 5 pennies for the lot. Oh, I could overpay him? No. I need the money. Pay a fair price. I'll give you 5 pennies for that batch of ingredients for Archie. It's a fair price. Here you are, then. They push an assortment of bottles and curiosities across the shop counter. Don't drink the one with the white wax on the cork. Come to think of it, don't drink any of them. No one speaks for a moment. Okay, can I afford your wig too? Looks like a useful disguise. That'll keep the rain off your head and make the constables think you're someone else. At distance, anyhow. I will pay a fair price. I'll give you 2 pennies for the red wig. That's a fair price. That's a good choice, that is. Found it under the bed of a certain individual when I was going after the creatures down there. Asked him if it was his, and he turned bright red and said no. So I said I'd do him the kindness of disposing it for him. Clean enough, though. Good if you want to go around the neighborhood and not look like yourself. Wearing this, I look and feel much less like myself. Implausible stories come readily to mind. Close friends fail to recognize. Come back soon. It is almost time to eat. Alright, we're immediately broke again, but we've made big progress on 2 fronts. Everyone knows that Archie's trial will soon be upon us. But Horatia prefers not to talk about it. She is assured it will end well, and she doesn't want to bring bad luck by rejoicing too soon. So we can discuss every topic except the matter in people's thoughts. Days till the end of Yule. As usual, I resort to the morning papers. The headlines today reads, "Blazing light observed at Z. Conflicting accounts from onlookers." Sorry. Return to the past, but immediately take Archie his drug supplies. I should change. Pin off. Oh, I can wear the Spifferer's fork? Right, that's as a brooch. It shows allegiance to devils. And we're gonna keep Algernon. I don't need the wig for this one. The light, it burns. Ugh, you're taking a risk coming here with that Jeep. If you don't watch out, they'll pack you up in the ungulate beside me. Strange lights at sea. Z. I recount the newspaper. A blazing light, similar to the sun, was reported by those at sea. Or Z. The way I tell it, the newspaper correspondent comes out looking a bit of a fool, but it does make the tale more entertaining. This place we're in almost makes me think fondly of Edinburgh. He pronounces himself glad to hear anything of the outside world in any case. I brought you your ingredient. Take these. They may not seem much use down here, but if you need to go where you won't be recognized, they're useful when it comes to keep prying eyes away. And taking a dark view of things in general. Ooh. As if the Neath were not dark enough, these are eyewear for a prophet of gloom, an evangelist of nocturnalist fantasy. When I wear them, people can't tell what I'm thinking. Aye, well done. Done more of these than I thought you could. Sidetracks for Archie. Present my manifesto. About the manifesto. I lay out my argument in all its subtle and vicious glory. The formation of cells, the recruitment of comrades, the stockpiling of supplies. Said manifesto. I did not think you'd take it to such an extreme. What did you expect? I was thinking something more in the nature of a treatise. Setting forth a plan, aye, and maybe something to stir the blood, but no. I wait. Speaking of weapons here, and combat, someone's like to be injured, and it will not always be only the masters. I think you've not seen a battle. People did not look so well after. Come to think of it, Archie hasn't seen that either. To the best of my knowledge, he's never left England. Persist. You wanted a plan. This is the plan. It was never going to be a letter-writing campaign or something soft in that nature. I see. He reads over the paper again, and I can see his growing resolve. He tucks my written note into his clothes. Money! I thought that I might get my money back. This'll do. I might grumble at times, but I'm grateful for the help. I feel it's the sort of thing I ought to write myself. Sit down and think about how London's to be saved, as though she were a patient with a heap of concerning symptoms. But I find I cannot get my mind around the whole of it. I feel like I'm a church bell ringing the alarm, or the dog that barks, or the flock overhead that flies before the storm. The fear is strung through every limb, and it jangles me constantly. But there's no peace for thinking what next. And by itself, the ringing bell's no use at all. There is a brief lull in the conversation. Talk about his recollections. We talk of recollections again, and this time they are particularly surprising. Archie describes at some length the struggles of a ship around the southern tip of Africa and how, with considerable damage to the hull, it struggled to harbor for repairs. He's a bell sounding the alarm. He's saying he's the boy who cried wolf, like talking about how the masters are doing all... He's worried he's the boy who cried wolf. And he's realizing that sounding the alarm doesn't do anything if there aren't people to answer it. He's becoming a budding anarchist. When I asked how and when he left Britain, he shrugs and says that he never left before now. And that the story must be something he read or heard from another medical student. Oh, his analogies are wild? Yeah, that's fair. I think he is being possessed by something or another. I just don't understand how. Because he's been another of those, relationships that we haven't exactly cultivated. We didn't really engage with his mystery. We just kind of planned to break him out of jail, and we're gonna do that. But he told it in such a way that I could almost smell the brine. I've been thinking about you, and how I mean to go above again as soon as I may. Are you worried about the future? And you're afraid for what's to come? No, I don't want to make some copy of happiness down here. Spending time with you, making plans together. It's like telling myself I've settled in. That I will not see the sun again. Does it trouble you, me saying that? I will always take it. I'd rather have the truth than a falsehood, even if it's a bit gloomy. Aye, well, might be the mood will pass on. But I thought it was best I warn you. I'm that fond of you, but I might not be fit for purpose. Even if the purpose is just a bit of friendly companionship, it might be more than I can keep up. I'll give it a try. I'd like to try all the same. Aye, well, you have courage, I'll say that. I'd best get on. I just have time for another errand today. Now, let's try to recall the past, even though... yeah. Nothing. London was eaten by bats. Trail Harjit Incognito. Captures the feel of the docks, but it won't deter Harjit from knowing who I am. Hat. Wig. Face. Sunglasses. That'll do. This will do nicely. Harjit won't recognize me at a distance, and I look like I belong on the docks. My expression is a little harder to read than usual. I'm satisfied with this. Harjit is headed south and east towards the docks. I follow him for many blocks. There are a lot of out-of-work dock workers, sailors, and lascars in this part of town. People sit on stoops and watch us go by. When someone says something to Harjit, he shouts back, occasionally in English, but more often in Laskari. Several times, I can make out the phrase that means a ship retired from service. London, he says, has been put in dry dock. The men always laugh and sometimes add their own obscenities. They shout at me too. It isn't so friendly. I'll use a few words of Lasker Pidgin myself. I am out of practice, but I manage to be suitably offensive. The right oath is a passport in this part of town, especially if it's spoken in their own language. Finally, Harjit stops. He has found what he is looking for. There is a makeshift sign over the door, Temporary Constabulary. From the sounds, a crowd is already inside. There is laughter. It sounds like a pub on a summer evening. Harjit goes in. The laughter stops and is replaced by a more doubtful conversation. Even straining my ears, I can hear only a fraction of what is said. Confiscated foods that weren't approved by Mr. Hart's, traffic and contraband maps, something about trouble with the mirrors. Then there is a thunder, as though every constable inside were stamping and banging on the tables, followed by several calls of "Fires! Fires!" The stomping and applause dies, and a high, piping voice begins within. Before it gets too far into its speech, I spy Harjit, not walking out the door this time, but stealthily letting himself out of a window. He stands for a moment with his hand covering his eyes, then he shakes himself and walks briskly the other direction into the maze of alleys. It is nearly time for supper. Mr. Fires is another one of the masters of the bar, I know. Pages mentioned him at one point. We know Fires, we know... I think it's Mr. Iron, we know Mr. Stone? Mr. Pages and Mr. Hearts are the ones that I think I remember offhand. I cannot come along to the trial, but I look forward to hearing what happens. From Archie's own mouth, mind. I want a first-hand account, and I rely on you to make sure I get it. When the meal is over, I give a hand to Horatio cleaning up. As always. It is the end of Yule. Merry Christmas, everyone. We are due in court this morning. Nothing recall from the past. Head outside, head to the court, head to the Old Bailey.
Quiet! Quiet! Order! Sit down! I am unhappily aware that most of you have forgotten how to conduct yourselves in a courtroom. In fact, if in fact you ever knew, but for those of you new to Her Majesty's Justice, you find yourself in the freshly repaired Old Bailey. Apparently, we're to count ourselves fortunate that it is in good enough condition for us to even meet here. We find ourselves in a difficult case. The culprit we meant to try today has vanished. He was arrested. He was held, I am assured, in a very secure location. And yet he is not there. Could you account for this, Constable Singh?
Archie is not aboard the HMS Ungulate.
You're quite certain?
The guards performed a thorough search.
And he is not disguised as someone else?
No.
Didn't tunnel his way out?
It's a boat! I believe that would have been noticed, my lord, if he had created an opening in the hull of the Ungulate.
So you might think, very well think, but I take nothing for granted, Constable Singh. I take nothing for granted in the Neath. Water might not be wet. Manacles might not bind.
Mr. Reed is gone.
Then we will not try him in absentia. Farewell. Thank you for your service, Constable Singh. May our next trial be more propitious, or better attended at any rate.
The constables guess where Archie has gone. In the evening they come for him. He is in the basement out of sight of the windows. There are 3 police constables from neighboring blocks. I see them coming through the window. I wait their knock, but all I hear is a dull thud, as though someone had tried to rap once on the front door and somehow failed. There is a pause, and then 2 constables run away. I cannot see what is happening on the other side of the front door. Don't open it for an hour or 2. His hand is currently part of our front door. He'll be able to free himself in time. You hired Moss for protection. I think Moss might have just killed 2 cops. Wait, or... are you the house? My foundations go deep. What are you telling me? That the fabric of this house obeys me. The windows callous over, the roof grows barbs. The basement extends much farther than it used to. I can't write down my methods. Archie wouldn't think it was scientific. What the fuck? She became one with the house and can, like, move it at... That's so cool. Yeah, this makes sense down here. This is what the Neath does for a landlady. One who cares for her tenants, at any rate. I don't think this happens to everyone. Not every boarding house is as well placed as we are. She's a house wizard. She's the master of the house. Anytime you say house, it's blue. Yeah, and I'm talking upside down right now. Sounds like wrong voice.
Sounds like someone was looking for me above.
Don't worry, they're gone.
And no harm to Horatia. No. Does Harjeet know where I am?
It's probably important that Hershey does not know. If he knew for certain you were here, he might send more constables. Or he might think he had to intervene some other way.
I wish he did know. I got accustomed to his company before the arrest, and even more afterwards, when he was always about the ungulate. Like as not, you're right.
Usually we left some of your things as they were.
There were some books?
I had to clear this and that away. And the rats were reading them.
No matter. How long do you think before I'll be able to do my rounds in the neighborhood again?
It might be some time.
There must be quite a few people ailing.
There are, but they can come here. And for those that can't, well, the basement joins up with a few other houses.
Does it? I didn't see that before.
It wasn't so before. Do as you like down here. Help yourself to the pickle. Brew your things in vats. The rats, as you know, are positively friendly. But, keep away from the far corner over there.
She's more crotchety than before, eh? Might be she did not like me being away for so long. She's a soft heart.
You got no idea. Or crotchety. That's a way to put it.
And, what about you then? Are you well? What's become of you while I've been gone?
I don't suppose you had much time to talk with those that came for your jailbreak.
No. Just the ferrets sent them. I didn't think much of their chances with the crowbars and the files, considering. They're mighty handy with a lockpick or gnawing through a rope.
I nod and tell him the whole story.
I wouldn't have thought it a ferret. Wouldn't have thought it of the Reverend either, now that we come to it.
I explained what I can, so far as I understand it myself. I don't think the house is a house anymore. Or possibly it's Horatia, who isn't entirely human.
Well, let me reassure you on one thing at least. I've nae developed any mysterious powers while I was aboard the Ungulate. Didn't learn to sing drowny or commune with the powers under the waves. Didn't turn half coracle and float off down the stolen river. I'm still myself, the same Archie as I was before.
You seem a little happier. Seem a bit less melancholic.
It's thinking I was gonna be killed and then finding that I wasn't. It's giving me a new lease for a moment. Though I still do mean to be sneaking off to break for the surface if I can. Especially if you mean to come along.
I don't, but... Do you mean to publish more of your theories?
It was never easy in the first place, back when I could go about in the streets. But we'll find a way, I dare say. I should thank you. I've heard from folks that know the Neath a little. Rumors of rumors. But they say, once you've died, you're not safe on the surface again. You hadn't rescued me, I would have been locked here forever in the dark. Sent to prison for long years, or changed, so I could never hope to go home again. I am grateful. Always.
So amid the smell of wine and camphor, we talk of everything that's past. Life is quieter after the trial, at least for a time. Christmas Day comes and goes. Pale flakes fall across London. They aren't exactly snow. Grizz's work at the ministry has become more intense, more demanding. And soon, we are coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the fall. 1 year since February. It doesn't feel right to call this month February again. Oop, jumping forward. 1 day remains in the season of the rose. There we go. This is the proper outfit. Last time with Horatia.
We're near on a year since the fall, and whatever may have been, we're not going back to the surface.
Honestly, would you really even want to? You're likely right.
What comes down doesn't go back up. Have you seen the decorations going up around the city? I can only see a little from my window.
That's as close as she comes these days to speaking of the outside. The city is decorated for a feast of lovers and romance. I'll just grab the scenes. London is decorated for a celebration. It looks like a coronation, a royal wedding. There's bunting and false flowers, signs in the shop windows. They're calling it the Feast of the Exceptional Rose.
A fungal rose.
See you, Scoop. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you have a good evening as well. Acquire a mask or buy gifts before the Feast of the Rose.
Get your mask here. A gift from the Exceptional Rose. Or a choice of them, in fact. And if you've a score to settle with anyone, I can help you for that, too, with a small consideration. Something rotten to an individual you don't fancy.
Look at the decoration of storing gifts. I'll take the smelliest item you have.
I'll have it wrapped in black paper. I can do a posy of dead birds to go with it if you like. All their heads pointing up, beaks open, little tongues pointing blackly at the sky. Just a penny more.
Yeah, I'll take your dead bird bouquet. Why not? Let's do this upright.
That's the spirit.
She sets about ornamenting the gift. The heads of the birds are desiccated, the eyes sunken.
There's still a few bites of flesh on them. Not that I would ever partake, but I know rats that would.
Better, but it could smell a bit more pungent, eh? What do you think? I could sprinkle a perfume of old fish? 2 pennies for that. Fish was good money before it rotted.
This is good enough, I think. That seems excessive.
Depends on how much you dislike them, doesn't it? Now, where were you thinking to send it?
I'm gonna send it to Mr. Pages, but I think he might like it. But fuck you for,
There's a risk and no mistake. I'll leave out the card that says where the gift was bought, if you don't mind. I stay out of the gaze of the masters, and that's how I prefer it. Don't want Mr. Vales coming around here to question the tariffs on my goods. Glad to do these little services. What we're here for, isn't it?
And if, after I've made the exchange, she notes it down in a small notebook, well, there's probably no harm in that.
Now you'll be needing something to wear.
Give me the severe mask. A mask for the Feast of the Rose, suitable for meeting friends, knitting matches, and pursuing deeper connection.
Does that suit you, then?
Let me try the other one as well. Hard to say without trying the other.
If you like. You're a demanding one, but I did bring both for a good reason.
A mask for the Feast of the Rose.
You'll be needing it for the festival that's coming.
What's this one?
A time for love, seduction, promises. They say the power at the back of it's Mr. Wines.
Does Mr. Wines also have a ministry?
That's not entirely in his style. Wear the mask to the feast and look for the person you most desire in your future. Friend, lover, spouse-to-be. Perhaps they'll be looking for you in turn. Or go alone and enjoy the crowd. There's something in that too.
I fear that Mr. Pages is actually going to like my bouquet of dead birds. And look for Bata Chikan? Oh, wait, hang on. I gotta put the mask on. Yeah, I like the austere one better. I'm gonna go... I feel like I must have screwed the Batachikan route up at some point, but I don't know how. Maybe it was by not being able to work with Mr. Pages. Or maybe there just isn't a Batachikan route. I don't know. It seems like there would be a route for everyone, yeah? Do I bring word back to Horatio, or do I just go by myself? I'm just gonna go by myself. Let's try that. Straight to the festival. I make my way through London. Sometimes, I still have to rely on memorized pathways, on strange rituals. There is a barricade between Vale Garden and Stolen, unless one pays in coin or... But many of the difficult old streets lie still now. I'm full of curiosity. All of London is out, walking along the Thames, taking part in the feast. Some of the feast-goers are here for the candies and the Valentine bats. Others are using the opportunities of masked darkness, whispering. What do the masters truly intend, and what's to be done about it? I scan the crowd for familiar faces. Batachikan! Batachikan waves his tentacles and emits a plangent honk. He is pleased to see me. Further burbles ensue, a great string. They signify many setbacks his shop has endured recently. Smashed windows, lack of custom, unscrupulous workmen. Yet despite this, the challenges seem to be taken with equanimity, even enjoyment. Equanimity, even enjoyment. He makes a languid sequence of warbles. It indicates that he is grateful for my assistance. Further burbles ensued, a great gurgle of them. They seem to signify that other rubbery men have been emerging from the Warrens, that he is securing a place for them in London. An anguished honk follows. It is a difficult process. There have been obstacles. A final, low whistle. He reluctantly acknowledges that I may have been right. I hope things improve soon. A determined warble follows. Batachikan has no doubt that they will. After all, he is in charge. He, and he alone. A series of halting honks introduce a difficult topic. Bakujin, and what has become of her. He wonders, is there anything he ought to know? Further hasty warbles, so he knows where he ought not to go. I'll tell him the truth. He works quite close by, in fact. Batachikan makes an obscure utterance, half phlegm and half woodwind section. It indicates an ambivalence. In the end, perhaps Bakujin was right, he indicates. Or at least, not as wrong as he'd supposed. There were limits to his ambitions, and a warning. A warning that was ignored. Perhaps he might seek her out and hear what she has to say, but not now, and not soon. After all, in the end, he came to Pages alone. A final, dismissive warble. He thanks you for your example and your lessons. He intends to rely on no one again but himself. A last, simple but unmistakable honk. It is farewell. Oh. I guess I screwed something up on that, or maybe there isn't a situation. Who knows? I suppose I should not be surprised to find you here. You have always been one for novelty. After all, you discovered me and, I do not wish to dwell on the past. You look well. She pauses, as though unsure of what to say next. Could be worse. Things have been better, but could be less so. Things could always be worse. Remember that, and you may go far in the Neath. Until London is crushed by some other newer, more attractive city. Much like I was replaced with you. I do not hold a grudge, of course. How is he? Did Pages give in to his foolish desire? Or did sense at last win the day? I assume it did not, as he has not squelched upon my doorstep. He will be an emissary for the rubbery men. I doubt he thanked you for it. But it is for the best. To proceed softly and to sublimate one's desires. And if he ever wishes a place here, well, perhaps that bridge can still be mended. Well, we have observed the unfortunate pleasantries. I hope our paths do not cross again. I have survived destruction twice over now. My city's fall, and then you. I hope you only realize the value of the one you took from me. Farewell. Well, I wanted to appreciate the value of him, but I didn't do it the right way. Grizz first. Oh, Grizz, you look so silly. How does all that hair fit under that bandana? I approach Grizz where she's standing to one side of the festivities. Congratulations. I suppose you had a hand in all this. Mr. Pages has an eccentric taste in celebrations. I challenged as many bad ideas as I could. It is only me, or it is harder to talk than it used to be. Oh yeah, braids. Braids do a wonder for compressing hair. Perhaps a little. I can write now. I don't need Milton talking me through a difficult character. What I do now is more difficult than it was on the surface. But it's better work, too. I wanted to be a help with that. It's not something that was given to me by anyone else. But you helped as much as anyone has. Bringing me stories that showed what it meant to live in the Neath. I didn't have that before. I didn't know how to ask the right questions. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I did not recognize you. An ingenious disguise. It would take considerably more work to give myself a new face.
He makes a noise like a pebble falling into a well. I believe this means he is joking.
Still, my face is attracting enough glances as it is.
I'll defend your honor, Moss. Point me in their direction. I'll show them the error of their ways.
Let me see. There and over there, and eating some sort of sherbet behind the fountain. Although, much as I do not wish to diminish your capabilities, I fear 2/3 of the festival may lend cause to injury. Besides, I have been here long enough to become used to it.
Moss is a delight. I love Moss so much.
And I had more important matters to discuss now I've found you. Regardless, I have made my last payment to Mrs. Chapman in the form of unblocking the chimney. It was something of a privilege to get a look at how it all worked. And I believe using the copper bath after was enjoyable for Mrs. Chapman. But now it is done. I shall be making arrangements to leave. I know that previously you asked me to remain. I would like to make my way. Mrs. Chapman could use more conventional lodgers. My trips to the market have been disastrous, to say the least. She does not say a thing. I do not believe she ever will. But I must. I wanted to ask, however, if you were serious when you told me I ought to remain in London.
I was. I think we have a great deal to offer London.
That is kind of you to say. I would like an address of my own, which requires an income, and therefore an occupation. Choice is something we are not burdened with on Poly 3. I find myself overwhelmed.
He makes a noise like the crack of a glacier after a long thawing.
I do not suppose you have any advice for me.
The whole justice system will need overhauled in the light of changes to death.
And one who has experience not dying might be suitable to advise. I know only the laws of Poly 3, and those I do not recommend. But perhaps in that knowledge alone, I might be useful. I will see what can be done. I may rely upon you for a character reference.
He makes a satisfied noise like the grinding of stone foundations as they settle.
It certainly sounds diverting. But we can and shall discuss the law some other time. If I am not mistaken, you are very much in demand here. And I have a poem I should like to write. The last gift I shall ever send to the king.
Speak with Ferret. Oh my god, Ferret, your mask! Absolutely incredible. Suppose I shouldn't be surprised to find you here. You've never been one to shy away from novelty. Funny, was just thinking about you the other day. Rock lawyer, rock judge, rock bailiff. Who knows? I think he can be a good judge, but we'll see whether or not the clay men can be elevated to such a position. I love Ferret's little rat mask, it's so funny. I've been selling all my old kit for scrap, traps and wires and the like. Don't want no one else to get their mitts on them. And figured there was less cause for money. What with the business at the church? Funny business. You know, that business. When we baptized a rat. Well, why stop when you're ahead? Ha! Baptize cats and dogs next. Or them big bloody wolves we've seen down here in Greenwich. All the same to your average pig-ignorant Londoner. Still afraid of what they don't know. But they'll have to change. No choice when the sky falls in. There's a bit of a to-do with the church. Seems the bishop caught wind of what's going on. Not thrilled to find any judge. Such a shame there's nothing can do about it now. Eh? There's all sorts of parish these days. Looking to make sense of it all. Now the church has let a rat in, embraced the day, as it were. And me at the forefront. They expect me to have an answer to it all. Which I blinking doubt, that's for sure. We're doing the right thing. I think you're doing what's best. No rest for the wicked. And it was me what started it. The reformed rat catcher must be somewhere near the top of that list. One of Jesus's lads was a tax collector, right? Suppose if I run out of things to say, I can always dazzle them with my tales of life of sin. Well, I must get on. I'm sure you've lots to talk to. And I'll be here, ducking the amateur rodent enthusiasts. Mustn't grumble. Not your doing. I'll still hold algae responsible, mind. And I'm sure our paths will cross again. Might be under the cover of fog, though. If I can get away long enough. I have come out of the feast without any particular companion. My future is my own to chart, without assistance or demands. I have my regrets. I would do it differently if I had my time again. Said different things in a different way and perhaps found myself happier at the end. But I have learned all the same. Wonder if that's it. I think that might be the end of the game. The introduction of rubbery men to London's fractured nerves is a mixed success. Their customs, their forms and visages repel many. It is Batachi Khan who finds the way, in defiance of the masters. He now calls himself an entrepreneur, and he deals with London in a language it understands. Commerce. He models his enterprise on that of the masters. His rise to prominence slowly guides the rubberies more fully into London, but it seems so far that they will remain a people apart. Of Bakujin I see less and less, and then one day, nothing at all. If Batachi Khan knows where she has gone, he does not, or will not, say. I saw less of Moss after he moved from Horatio's. We met occasionally for a quiet drink in a gloomy cellar public house he claimed to prefer. His professional advancements were dizzying, but some years later he took an unusual turn, devoting all of his energies to serving the unfinished clay men who labored at the docks. Moss even opened a boarding house of his own, and though clay men predominated, he turned no one away. In time, the constables lose interest in finding Archie. The Neath is troubled enough, and there are many worse threats. By the time they do, however, the basement of Chapman's extends a long way beyond the original house. In the shadows, Archie and Horatia, between them, have built the infirmary below. People from around the neighborhood come for his care, and so do some who are not human. They pay in coin, in food, in rumors of cures, but most of all, in perilous ingredients. In a laboratory of rat-built equipment, Archie tests and distills his wares. In later years, when new universities are built and new medical schools are founded, he is the one who lectures. The opening of uncertain things. The sigil can be interpreted as the perilous journey of the multitude, or the opening of uncertain things. All the possible beginnings of this story are now open to you. Start again, and you may find a very different ending to record on the flank of the bazaar. I liked that game quite a bit. I hope everybody else did as well. I need to think about what I'm doing next. The ending kind of snuck up on me here. I don't think I want to just keep doing a bunch of playthroughs of this or anything. Doing visual novels. You kind of do the once in, I think, for the stream first, and then I'm gonna move on to something else. But I certainly think this was a very interesting thing, and I highly encourage anybody who is interested in this to take a look at Mask of the Rose and the other Failbetter games on Steam. I had a great time with it. I love the Fallen London setting. I think it's an excellent thing to take a look at. Now what to do next? I suppose I should ask the folks here, is there anything in particular that you guys would want to see on a stream of me to do? I have a couple of ideas, and I'll certainly be moving forward with some of those. Some more of the visual novel bend, more reading and things like that, but come back to it later. But yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is something that I might come back to maybe in a year or something like that. Do another quick run-through of it over a few days, and blaze through some of the stuff that we saw before. But, yeah. I have a few ideas. One of them, that's very fair. It's definitely something where I'm not without ideas, but if there was specific stuff that people knew that might be good, or what they'd want to see, I'd be curious to hear it. Most of you have some way of contacting me otherwise, but even so. One of the things I know I've been thinking of is the game The House at Fata Morgana, which I will find and read the synopsis of. Got a little bit of time to kill, because, like I said, the game snuck up on me. A gothic suspense tale set in a cursed mansion, The House in Fata Morgana is a full-length visual novel spanning a millennium that deals in tragedy, human nature, and insanity.
You awaken in a decrepit old mansion. A woman with eyes of jade stands before you, informing you that you are now the master of the house and she is your maid. However, you have no memories, no concept of self, or indeed any certainty that you are even alive. The maid invites you to join her on a journey through the mansion's lifeless halls. Behold the numerous tragedies that have befallen its residents. She suggests that amongst them, perhaps may find some trace of himself. Another one of the ones I was thinking was Colony Ship. Post-Earth role-playing game, a turn-based, party-based role-playing game set aboard a generation ship launched to Proxima Centauri. The game features a detailed, skill-based character system, multiple ways to handle quests, choices and options, branching dialogue. Yes, we were discussing the first game, and no, it will not be Fortnite. I'm tempted to ban you just for suggesting it. Another one of the ones that I was potentially thinking down the line was going through some of the... I need to take another shot at Vagris the Riven Realm, see if that one's going to end up being too much like Sunless Sea and replacing... Marcy, you try my patience every day. I hope you know that. Well, in the interim, I am going to take us to a break screen. I figure out exactly what I'm doing for the rest of the stream here. Because I've got about 40 minutes left of my time slot. You could call it early. I might call it early. But we'll see. But either way, I will be right back momentarily to figure out what I'm going to do. Hello, everyone. I think I came to the brief decision that just on a momentum standpoint, it's probably best for us to just probably call it here or this afternoon. Shorter stream than usual. That's fine. I'm exhausted, but Duck Detective. That's a good idea as well. I forgot about that. I have a lot of potential ideas that I'm going to look into. I will tweet out what we're starting next time. But thank you all for coming to the short truncated stream in general. Thank you for sticking around through the Mask of the Rose, and hope you all had a good time with the game. I did. So yeah. Thank you all again for coming, and yeah, that's not a bad idea. But yeah, thank you all again for coming, and a little early today. Take care, everybody. Hey, if you stuck around to the end of the video, I just wanted to say thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed. If you want to help support me in making more of this, you can follow me on Twitch, where I stream these live. Like, comment, and subscribe. I suspect you all know how this works by now, but it really does help a lot. Thanks.